Have you ever felt like once you got somewhere or circumstances on your outside changed that you would finally feel what you were hoping to feel, only to get there and realize nothing really changed on the inside? That's not a coincidence, and it's not because of you. Hi, my name is Jennifer. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and on this channel, I talk about what nobody tells you about life's major transitions. No matter if you're retiring, an empty nester, going from career to entrepreneur, switching careers, or even if you've hit a ceiling level that you just can't seem to get past, this channel is for you. So if this sounds like something that will be helpful for you, please hit subscribe, like, comment, and share with anybody that might need to hear that. That helps this video get out to other people and helps my channel, and I really appreciate that. Thank you again. Today, we're going to talk about identity disruption and how that affects your next chapter. Identity disruption is when you feel different on the inside than what you're experiencing on the outside. In other words, it's when you feel like the outside environment or the change that you're making or the next chapter that you're stepping into is going to create a whole new identity or version of you and the feeling that comes with that. Now, I've been here many times in my life, but let's just talk about the identity mismatch about moving. Now, my husband's career, 4 years, took us somewhere different every 2 to 3 years. And that would be my husband, myself, our kids, and our animals all moving 2 to 3 years. Now, what this did for me was that it created an excitement because I had hope that things would finally change. I had hope that when I got to the next place that I would feel like I finally belonged, that it felt like home, and that I would finally feel this fulfillment and purpose and happiness, and that everything was just going to work out. And I did feel that way, but that feeling was temporary, and that feeling faded quickly because my inside, the way I was thinking, the way I was behaving, and the way that I was believing things were going to be did not change when I moved places. So my identity stayed the same, but my outside world had changed. And that created confusion because each time I was hopeful and excited that things were going to change and that this was finally going to be the thing that made me feel the way I wanted to feel. Because over the years, with each move, nothing was changing on the inside, even though everything was changing on the outside. This is happening because we are running on automatic programming. This automatic programming or software is our subconscious, and that is where 95% of our identity is showing up from. So it's where we store our beliefs, it's where we store our memories, and our subconscious likes to associate things now that happened in the past because it likes the familiar. So what's happening is that even though we are changing our outside circumstances, internally we are associating the things that are happening with old familiar patterns, old familiar memories, and old familiar beliefs. So even though we change our circumstances on the outside, we're still the very same people on the inside. And I have seen it many times of how this can really affect people, including myself, and the way that we feel and the way we show up and really the way that we are experiencing life in general. This is something that shows up for almost everybody. It can happen when you're retiring because you have spent your whole life in one career and that defined who you were, and it really defined your routine because you had to take leave when you could take leave and go on vacation when you could go on vacation, take your breaks, your lunch, all defined timing. You got in a routine. Remember, we're automatically acting on things. So when that gets disrupted, so does your identity. It also shows up in divorce because when you are changing out of a relationship where you put yourself into the identity of being somebody's partner and then you're on the other side, that doesn't exactly feel the same way, even if you wanted the divorce or even if you didn't want the divorce. Either way, your identity has to catch up to who you want to be and how you show up. This also happens in empty nesting. You spend your whole life being a mom and dad, and you're wearing that title, and you're used to being busy, going to sports and making dinner and being there for your kids, hearing them laugh, watching them grow up. And when they do grow up and move out of the house, you're left with a quiet house, more time on your hands, and you wonder, am I still relevant? how am I going to be in this next chapter? Things are a little bit quieter than I'm used to. This happens in career change. You are showing up in a career in a certain way and you're hoping to feel a different way in your next career, only to experience the same thing. It's almost like the same manager or the same coworkers. And you're wondering, why did I even change careers? It seems the same. And this can happen when you shift from a career to an entrepreneur. That creates a lot of identity disruption because you're used to living as an employee and now you have to show up for yourself as an entrepreneur. So these were just some of the main ways that this can show up and how identity disruption shows up in your life, but this can happen to everybody. So here are 3 things that you can do to really start stepping into that new identity for your next chapter. The first thing you're going to want to do is recognize. Now, this seems like it would be something that comes naturally and everybody's going to recognize these things, but we just don't, because remember, we're living in automatic. So ask yourself, how am I showing up? So it starts with, what beliefs am I having? What thoughts are fueling my beliefs? And how am I behaving that is creating the results I am seeing today? And you'll notice that it goes back to your thoughts. So what are you thinking? Because your thoughts are going to fuel your emotions, and your emotions creates your beliefs and then your behavior and the results you're showing. So start by asking yourself, what thoughts am I having today? And then we're going to go to the next step and reframe them. How can I reframe these thoughts to show up as a version of myself in this next chapter to create the best chapter of my life yet? And after we reframe those thoughts, so changing it from something that's no longer serving you to something that, hey, this could be a possibility instead of an obstacle, we're going to expand that identity. How do I need to think? How do I need to behave? What beliefs am I having? How can I shift those to expand my new identity to my next chapter? Because that's where it starts. When we can change our thinking and change our beliefs and then change our behavior, our results are going to follow, and we're going to feel on the inside what we're hoping that the external circumstances would change for us. But it starts from the inside first, and then you experience it on the outside. The moment that I stopped trying to change the outside circumstances to change the way I felt on the inside is the moment that my life got better. I started to love myself more. I started to be able to show up as that version that I wanted to be. It was an identity update, and that is exactly what I needed to be here today. Because if I was still the old version of myself, I could not be showing up here on video, talking to you guys now, and sharing my story and being vulnerable and giving you the steps that I took, because that old person, that old version of me could never do that. So if this sounds like something that helped you today and it's something you want to continue to experience with me each week, make sure to hit subscribe and like this video and share this video with others that might need to hear this as well. And if you want to, go ahead and comment below and tell me what transition you're in now. I read every comment. And also, if you're interested in a free consultation to go even deeper in this work, the link is in the bio down below. Go ahead and schedule that free consultation. It's a 30-minute consultation through Zoom. We'll talk about hypnotherapy, the model of the mind, and how that can help you have a better understanding about hypnotherapy and how that can update your identity and the path that you can take to get to your next best chapter yet. And remember, it's never too late. Doesn't matter where you're at, and it is meant for you too. And stay tuned, because next week we're going to talk about the identity shift that nobody talks about.